That means it's time for Mark Trible and the Courier Post. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Sully.
What's happening, boss?
Just same as every Saturday, Sully. I am ready for more and more and more South Jersey football.
I was up in your neck of the woods last night. Took a little day off. Was out in Philly with my oldest sister and her daughter, my niece. So we were checking out Rittenhouse Square, some of the Liberty Bell, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you came clean about that because I saw you post on Facebook a picture of Liberty Bell. It's about a mile and a half from my house.
Nice.
And, I was a little...
I figured you were busy.
I'm day-to-day with hurt feelings that you wouldn't at least give me a shout, but it's okay.
I figured you had high school football, man, Friday nights.
All right.
I'm
not going to take it any further than that, Sully, but my feelings were a little bit hurt.
So my bad. We were at the old George Washington house there, the kind of the framed out house, I guess, that he was in. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised to see that he had some flat screen TVs over the fireplace there. He was ahead of his time. Yeah,
the technological advancements those founding fathers really had. They talk about Ben Franklin flying the kite in the thunderstorm. That's great and all, but the flat screen TVs from GW himself certainly went above and beyond, man. There's no question about that.
I kind of made a joke to my niece. I was like, man, I didn't know they had flat screens back in 1780.
Yeah, well,
if you've never been there, I don't know if you've been there, Nick. It's kind of the bricked out frame of the house. There's no roof or anything. But
I know what you're talking about. I've not gone.
So there's like the old, the actual.
About.
There's the actual old fireplace, and above the fireplace is a flat screen TV, like giving you information about it.
I was gonna say, what's on the TV? Information, or are they watching the NFL on Sundays out there? George Washington way ahead of his time back then too.
I thought maybe they'd have a feed of the prep game on there.
Yeah, I don't know if
Prep Cherokee makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if Washington was an Augustinian guy or not. I think he was an Episcopalian, to be honest with you.
Maybe.
Oh man!
So man, we got a heck of a matchup next weekend. Williamstown Prep, man. Prep's one of the hottest teams in South Jersey, and obviously Williamstown is at 8-0, but Prep's won 5 in a row. They're 6-2. That's going to be some big boy football going on next Friday night.
Yeah, without a doubt, Sully. And, these two teams have a lot of history together because, Coach Fusatola of Williamstown coached at St. Augustine a long time ago, but he still did. And a while ago, St. Augustine had a fair number of kids from Williamstown on the team. So even though they don't usually cross paths, I know they have the past couple of years. But they're quite familiar with each other.
Mark, what's your takeaway from last night? We're starting to get into that, looking at the big board in playoffs, and who knows who can really figure that out. We've been trying for weeks and weeks, but some teams definitely have a lot to play for here in the next 2 weeks or so.
Well, I was at Delsea last night and saw them face Cedar Creek, and I thought Cedar Creek, they played better than I saw them against Wilson. I still think Cedar Creek's a pretty decent football team, even though they're 3-4. They play a really tough schedule. I like what Tim Watson. I like what Louis Berrios can do at quarterback. He showed some glimpses last night. But really, the story was Delsea and Aiden Bourget, and this is a team that a month ago was left for dead. And I can think of a couple teams that underwent that transformation. West Defford over the past 4 weeks, really, or 5 weeks. St. Augustine's another one that really showed no life against St. Joe and now looks like a force. I think Delsea is the top of the list. I mean, Delsea went through a 3-game losing streak all at home, I believe. I mean, they lost to Cannon, they lost to Burlington Township. Maybe the West Defford game was on the road. I don't remember. But they lost those 3 games. Now those losses don't look so bad. And what have they done since? They beat County Catholic 54-0. They beat Woodrow Wilson last Saturday 56-14. And last night they won by 22 against Cedar Creek. It's really remarkable, Sully, when you look at how Delsea at this time of year turns it on. I went back through and looked last night. In the first four, in the past 6 seasons, they've reached the championship. They've won 5 of those championships. Over that span, in their first 4 games of the season, those teams are 13-15.
Wow.
After the first 4, they're 47-4. That's over 6 years. Okay? So when it gets to be the 5th week of the season, Delsey's almost untouchable. And that's what they showed last night. Aiden Bourget, 226 rushing yards. The Harvard commit runs for 4 touchdowns. And just, I don't know how you tackle this guy, and neither does Cedar Creek. And it was just something to see, man. The kid is really a stud at running back.
He's a beast, man. He's kind of like he runs a little bit kind of straight up, but he's got the big legs. I mean, he's not your typical 5'8" scat back. I mean, this is a big kid. He's, I guess, around 6 foot, 6'1".
He is. He's very, very big, and he's like you said, he's very well built. He's tough. He's just, you can tell the kid's lived in the weight room. And when he gets past that, when I saw him earlier in the season, he wasn't getting to that line of scrimmage area. Their line was in shambles. Their offensive line was in shambles. He was getting hit on these blown assignments in a triple option. He was getting hit 3 yards in the backfield.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing you can do. You can't get any momentum. There's no one who can run like that. Now, fast forward to now, those guys have shorted up enough where really all they have to do, Sully, is get a little bit of a push. Just get him to the line of scrimmage. At that point, he's probably going to make it to the linebackers, and at that point, nobody knows how to tackle him. He just breaks arm tackles. He just rolls through guys. I was so impressed with him and Delsey. They really have it kind of just where they need it at this time of the year.
Well, that offense they run is really predicated on how well the line plays. And like you said, if you have a couple injuries early on or guys aren't playing well early on, it can look like it's not a good offense. But when you get everything rolling, kind of like Buna, when you get that kind of thing rolling, man, it's really tough to stop. And Buna with a great win over Pleasantville last night kind of showed they're for real. They were looking for that signature win too.
Yeah, this really is the week of signature wins and who needed them. And you want to look at Buna. I look at some games today. Lenape and Rancocas Valley, both are going to be in the playoffs and seeded pretty well, I think. Who gets that signature win? I don't think either of them has one right now. Burlington Township and Highland, both teams have won some big games, but this is the biggest today at 1:30 at Burlington Township. This would be a feather in either one of them cap as the playoffs kind of come close. Also next week, Paulsboro and Gateway on Saturday.
Oh, the Gators!
The Gators are just keep chomping with Coach Josh Mason and defensive coordinator Pete Getz. They rolled again last night over Haddon Heights, and Sully, Paulsboro, they have just kind of kept going quietly here. What about, and we got talk about Group 1 next week, Sully, Pennsgrove and Salem. Salem is looking for that huge win to go into the playoffs, and they could possibly be the 1 seed down there. Spirit and St. Joe's, after what's been going on in St. Joe's, they bounced back big time last night, and Holy Spirit wakes up in the second half to beat Kingswood. So many storylines, Sully. There are some teams that really, really want to get that last big win in before they hit the playoffs.
Man, Trible is fired up. He's geeked up.
I'm ready to go. I'm like Gary. I haven't had a couple Diet Cokes. I've had a couple tall cups of coffee, and I'm ready to go. So
what are you about 30 ounces in?
That's the real caffeine, baby.
That's the real deal. Yeah, I'm about, I don't know how many ounces. It's not enough, but I'm getting it.
Or are we going dark roast? With a high strength in those coffee beans.
It is like the consistency of tar, basically. Like Saturday morning coffee for me.
That's what I like, baby.
It's got to be pretty intense to get me going after a late Friday night.
Man, I'm all fired up for the Wednesday night Facebook Live show.
Oh, man, me too. It's been great. We've got some unbelievable feedback, Sully. I mean, guys are on there, and ladies too. They're watching. They're sending names along. They're sending teams along, teams we don't usually touch on a lot. everybody be sure to tune into that on the South Jersey Gridiron Gang Facebook page, 7 p.m. Wednesday nights. We love the interaction. It's really taken off this year. It's been a joy to do it with Josh Friedman.
You got to mess with Josh a little bit, loosen him up a little bit. He's pretty much by the book.
Well, we'll see. I don't want to put that on record, Sully. It might have to be a sneak attack.
There you go. Kind of like what I do with Kevin Minnick from time to time.
The curveballs? Oh, man.
I was messing with him today.
12-6.
I was messing with him today, asking if his wife was dragging him around to the hay rides and stuff like that. He's like, "Come on, Sully. We're past that. We're past that."
We're past that. Oh man, that's good stuff. I know we've talked about apple picking, I think, at one point on this show. And
when are you going to start getting dragged into this kind of stuff?
I don't know, man. I'm just too focused. I can't think further than the next Saturday and Friday. St. Augustine, Williamstown. I feel like if somebody said, "Hey, Mark, do you want to come pick apples or go to the pumpkin patch?" I'd say, "Have you seen what Williamstown's defense is doing this year?"
Got to get you a little lady to start taking some selfies over some of those Philly hotspots,
I gotta find somebody who understands the difference between the even and odd man front and the wing tee offense, triple option, the belly dive, toss, all that stuff. So
you find a girl that can break down the wing tee, man. Don't let her go.
That's right. If anybody's out there, just get in touch with Sully. He'll put you in touch.
I think they're gonna end up watching film together on Thursday nights. Get ready for Friday night.
That's a keeper, man. That's a keeper.
That would be.
I'm in the market for the same thing, man. You can tell me what the too high safety means. We're in. We're down. I'm taking you out to dinner. You tell me what a cover 2 is. All right. Now we're talking.
That's right.
What else? Mark, we got about a minute to go. What else is on your radar for next weekend? Obviously down my way, mainland Ocean City. That's going to be a big tilt over at Cary Stadium. And Raider Nation and Corral Crazy is just going to be going back and forth across the stadium.
Yeah, mainland Ocean City. Obviously, mainland has put things together here recently better than in a couple years past. And Ocean City, I believe they lost Oakcrest last night, right? So they had things humming, we thought, after that bye week. And really, now the Red Raiders are in desperation mode. That would be a great game. Down your way, I like Spirit St. Joe. I really think that is a compelling matchup, one of the best in South Jersey. The way everything shook out this week, Sully, it's just a beautiful thing. We have some really impactful and great football as the weather turns to a chill here and we get ready for the postseason.
You get down to these weeks and the fans are clamoring, "Why aren't you at this game?" Well, I can only be at one game, man.
That really is the sadness that engulfs us all. We can only be at one game at a time, Sully.
All right, man. We'll let you announce on Wednesday where you're heading next Friday. We'll keep the suspense going.
No, that's perfect, man. Thanks for having me on, as always, Sully and Nick.
You got it, man. Next time in Philly, I'll definitely give you a ring.
All right.
We'll head down to Patty's, get a few.
Works for me, man. I got a flat screen, too, not just George Washington.
All right, man. Great stuff as always, Mark. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you got it, brother.